Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you a cool trick that uses gating to add a little bit of interest to your rhythm tracks. This is actually a trick that I did in written form a year or two or so ago, and I just thought that it might be a little bit easier to see in video form, and that it was a cool enough trick that it might bear repeating in case you missed it the first time. So let's get started. I have three separate instances of EXS24, Logic's built-in sampler here, assigned to kick, snare, woodblock, and it's just playing a very simple 4-on-the-floor beat like this. So, not very interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply an effect to the snare that's going to make that a little bit interesting. So select our snare track here, and we're going to apply reverb to this in the way that you would apply reverb to any track generally, which is to use a bus. And so I'm selecting bus 1. That comes up over here. I'm going to go ahead and put my send level at about 30% or so. There's nothing on this bus right now, so it doesn't do anything until we actually add some effects to that bus. And I'm going to put an instance of Space Designer, which is Logic's convolution reverb that it comes with. As it is, the effect right now is kind of normal. You know, maybe a kind of setting you'd use for a ballad or something like that, but we want to go really over the top. So we're going to select the 16-second huge dome preset, and that sounds like this now. So that might be cool for a breakdown or something, but it's certainly excessive for normal use. But we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that by applying a gate, in this case Logic's Silver Gate, which is the simpler of its two gates. If you've never used a gate before, a gate is simply a device that turns an audio channel on and off according to whether that audio channel goes above a certain volume threshold. So sounds that are loud enough to hit the threshold level or above are let through the gate, and sounds that are too quiet to reach that threshold get closed out of the gate. So it's basically just an automated on and off switch for an audio channel. And it's useful if you're using, say, recording guitar parts, and in between the actual parts themselves, you don't want to capture the amp noise or anything like that. Now, normally, we would be using the audio directly from the snare drum as our threshold, and that's how you do the old Phil Collins gated snare drum sound. We want to do something a little bit different, though, and we want to use a sidechain to use a different track to trigger that threshold level and open and close the gate. So because we want something that's kind of choppy, I've gone ahead and created an instance of EVB3, the built-in B3 emulator, because an organ envelope is just on and off when you play it. When you start the note, it starts playing right away, and when you let go, sorry, I should have my output here. There we go. When you play a note, it starts right away, and when you let go, it ends right away. So that's perfect for this kind of application. The one problem is, for whatever reason, as far as I know in Logic, you can't directly assign a live, non-rendered audio instrument as a sidechain. But there's a way around that, and that way is to, again, use a bus. So let's use bus number 2. And because we don't actually want to hear the organ sound, go ahead and take your output and select no output. Okay, and we're going to send this all the way, so put your send level all the way up to bus 2. But again, we don't want to hear that. We're just using this as a control signal. The signal's still going to be there. As you can see, if you look at the meters down here, this signal's still there, but you can't actually hear anything playing. We're just using it as a control signal. So let's go back to our snare track, and to bus 1 specifically, and we're going to select the Silver Gate. I've moved the threshold up a little bit. I'm going to move the attack down, and I'm going to move the hold up a little bit. You probably want to tweak these a little bit to get things perfect. This is just kind of a quick and dirty demonstration, though, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. So sidechain, now you'll see bus 2 has been added to our sidechain. So I'm going to play the EVB3 live, and as we play our drum beat, you'll be able to hear what the effect is. Okay, so that was very sloppy because I was playing it live, but obviously you could sequence that track into any kind of choppy rhythmic pattern you wanted to and quantize it so that it would be perfect. Of course, you can use the same effect to do the trancy gated pad sounds and that sort of thing, but you don't hear it used too often on drums, so I think that's kind of a new and interesting way of doing it. Anyway, I hope you found this useful, and I hope it encourages you to find some less traditional ways to use your built-in effects. We'll see you next time.